The Zhulinniao Qingluan is a $40 vocal beast that can put $100 IEMs to shame in terms of accessories, but sound-wise, honestly, this is probably one of the best neutral, bright neutral, vocal-centric IEMs at under $50. So let's talk about it and what makes this IEM so good, not only in a sonic sense, but also as a whole package. So Zhulinniao is probably not a brand that it's or at least not with the good reputation behind it. Zhulinniao is something that is more of a boutique brand in China, but has made its way into the global market, but their products has not necessarily been the most stellar, at least in the past few months that they've kind of been going out in the market. But the Qingluan Z4, I'm just gonna call it Z4. The Z4 seems to be a different kind of breed of IEM for Zhulinniao, and I'm really excited to talk to you about everything that you would probably want to know if you want to get this IEM. But first, let's talk about the unboxing. The box of the Z4 is quite unassuming, with a very basic black box and some lettering up front with some specs in the back. Opening the box, however, is where the money's at. As you can see, a plethora of accessories laid out. Not only do you get a very pretty nice carrying pouch to protect your IEMs in, you also get 3 different kinds of ear tips, one being their patented Zhu, rhythm, or bamboo ear tips. These are great ear tips, although ironically not for the Z4. They're very grippy and brings out the upper mids and treble energy while widening the stage. They don't fit stubby nozzle IEMs like the Z4 though, and I ended up using a different ear tip, which I'll be talking about in a bit. Let's talk about the build and fit. Starting with the internals, the Z4 features a single 5th generation DLC dynamic driver housed in an all aluminum shell with a 0.78 2-pin connector. And damn, this is a very premium feeling set for $40. It's not just some basic metal kind of finish too, it's brushed. It's a grainy, somewhat sandpaper but smooth enough texture on the inner shell and on the faceplate, and the faceplate just looks absolutely gorgeous. It also features detachable nozzle, which is always a plus for me as it allows for modding without the need to take apart the mesh. Fit is unfortunately not as stellar as the build, as I found the fit to be very tip sensitive in making sure that it has a good seal and stability. I ended up using Duno SNS tips paired with the Z4, but the bamboo ear tips were the ones that I used for testing, as I wanted to make sure if you're gonna get this IEM and you wanted to use the bamboo ear tips, you'd get that experience. And finally, let's talk about the sound. And if you know me, if you know obodio, I love bright stuff. I really like bright stuff, and the Zhulinniao Z4 is bright neutral to be specific, with a lot of vocal energy, tight, clean bass, very open sounding mids, and a very sparkly overall sound. And I absolutely love it because the treble, despite being bright, is very, very smooth. I like how smooth and bright this IEM is. Reminds me of the CCA Duo, which I'll talk about later in comparison, but it's very nice. I love the sound of this. And as for drivability, it is quite easy to drive. It's not necessarily that hard to drive in my opinion, but you may want to scale up the source a little bit, as I found this to be better, especially with warmer sources. It's a lot smoother, a lot cleaner, and just overall just more balanced in my opinion. So get a little nice source, but a lower powered source is more than enough. At least get a dongle DAC, at least. So starting with the bass, as I've mentioned, it's very clean, it's very tight. There's more sub bass than mid bass, so a lot of the really low stuff you'll be able to hear and feel, but the mid bass kick is kind of lacking a little bit. Not very textured, but very tight and vocal, but the note definition is very, very good. So I really like this, just not for bass heads for sure, really not for bass heads. So if you're bass head, skip this. It's not necessarily for neutral heads either, because there's a little bit of elevation there, but it's more than enough, at least for my own preferences, to make it a neutral set for me. It's a very neutral sounding bass, not overly boosted, not overly recessed, just clean. And talking about the mids, it's very crisp, very open, and surprisingly, it's pretty balanced, although there is a shift into the female vocals over the male vocals, which means there's also a shift to airy instruments than more bodied instruments. So I would take violins, trumpets, crumpets, that's a Dankbouts reference, flutes and all of that, over bass guitars, and I would even say like kick drums and stuff like that, like the little kick and stuff like that. I would take that. Oh, I wouldn't take that over the airier stuff. Female vocal is very nice. I love it. If you are shout sensitive, you might find this a little bit shouty, just a little bit, just a tad bit. But if you like forward vocals, you will probably like this a lot. I mean, I really like this a lot. So if you like that, you like that. And as for the treble, it's very forward, it's very sparkly, it's very crisp, but surprisingly smooth. It's not the airiest. It's not the most well extended. Well, I wouldn't say well extended. It's not very airy in a sense that it brings out too much of an unrealistic sense of, you know, I don't know, that's a weird example, but it's not overly airy. It's just crisp. It's very clean. And it rolls off very naturally, so it doesn't sound too bright to take the balance off of the rest of the frequencies. And as for technicalities, very good for the price. Surprisingly good for the price, but it is not the cleanest. I still think that there are some IEMs that are better, although to be fair, those are the GOATs in my opinion, so honestly, it's not that much of a competition. But as for $40 or $45, however much this costs, this is really good technicalities, very open sounding, good separation, although not the best again, but it's very good. Depth is not the best, as you expect from not a bassy set, but very clean sounding. I'm able to separate instruments very nicely without really struggling too much, at least with the kind of music that I listen to for this one. Moving on to the comparisons, starting with the SIMGOT EW200. The EW200 has a technical edge against the Z4, but the Z4 sounds smoother and less fatiguing in long listening sessions. The bass is more dynamic on the EW200, but the Z4 has a better vocal presentation. Compared to the TRN Conch, they both have a plethora of accessories. The difference is that the Z4 sounds quite refined, smooth, and competent sounding, while the Conch is a bit more uneven, edgy, and sibilant at times. The Z4 also has better technical ability compared to the Conch. Compared to the Tanch Gym 1, the Z4 sounds cleaner but less engaging. The Tanch Gym 1 has a much more fun, thick, and richer sounding bass, while the Z4's vocals sound more open, nuanced, and cleaner. Compared to my love, the Heart Mirror, the Z4 sounds more fine but lacks the note weight that makes both male and females vocals sound magical on the Heart Mirror. The Z4 is better suited for female vocals, while the Heart Mirror is better suited for general vocals and a lot of instrumental tracks. Compared to the CCA Pianist, the Z4 sounds more fine, smooth, and natural sounding, while the Pianist sounds more energetic, crisp, and bright. Head stage is wider on the Pianist, but timbre is better on the Z4. And lastly, comparing this to the CCA Duo, the Duo just has a better tonal balance when it comes to male and female vocals, which makes the mid-range sound just a little bit more balanced compared to the Z4, but the Z4 has a more energetic and focused vocal presentation in the upper frequencies that makes it sound more crisp. And to finally conclude, the Z4 is just a fantastic, bright neutral IEM with a lot of accessories. I cannot comprehend how much money they're making out of these IEMs because it's so well built, it looks so good, it is so well equipped, and it sounds really good for the price. Other sets that try to get that combination of good value and good sound didn't really work out well, but this does it absolutely amazingly. It's not the most fun sounding or most engaging sounding with a lot of bass, but it is a vocal beast, vocal master with amazing vocal presentation, especially in the upper frequencies. And I highly recommend it if you like vocals or if you like listening to a lot of airy or instrumental tracks. And yeah, that's all you want. And the Zhulinniao Qingluan Z4 is the IEM for you. And that's it. That's the review. Thank you so much for watching my review on the Zhulinniao Qingluan Z4. If you like this video, consider liking the video. If you like some of my content, please consider subscribing and dinging that notification bell. Consider liking and following my socials. I do updates now. It's like I didn't do that before. I also have a Discord, so join the Discord. I realized that I wasn't plugging my Discord before. I'm gonna plug it now. And check out Audio Notions and join Forsaken Audio Files. And with that, obodio out. 私のが